April 30th, workout breakdown. We are approaching the end of Strength Under Fatigue month before we move into May. The monthly emphasis video for that will be coming out next week. You guys are going to start with a 3-minute warm-up, very crucial 3-minute warm-up if we want this to go well. The goal of these, for anybody that's still a little bit confused as to the 2-minute EMOMs and the purpose of them, it gives you a fundamental understanding of where you currently physically stand on the aerobic side. And although this is like technically capacity work, it's something that we can measure and track quite easily month to month, just to kind of see where you stand and also give you the opportunity to work on improving your capacity limits, again, month over month. So roughly one time a month. I try really hard to get these in one time a month. It's not always feasible, but when you see these, you should be hopefully kind of excited and interested in seeing where you stand. And again, if you're going to approach this right, you need round one to like count. It needs to be real, which is why that warm up is so important, that you guys do a real diligent warm up. So round one isn't a warm up itself, which is what a lot of us do. And we can just pick a number that we want to aim for and try to hit it, round after round for 5 consecutive rounds. And again, just to be clear, your goal is to aim for the highest possible number you can and try to repeat it 5 consecutive rounds in that 2-minute time frame. So again, capacity work at its finest. Following that, obviously going to be a little bit of fatigue here. A 26-minute block. I will say in this video, 26 minutes is probably slightly short. So anybody watching this, you have the advantage of going into this knowing you don't really want to waste any time. You get the dumbbell clean to overhead. I was very close to making this a single arm clean to overhead to give you guys some flexibility, but I think it's just too many options. So I rolled with just a regular clean to overhead. If you are somebody, that being said, who struggles with getting up and overhead for like mobility purposes, then single arm probably is better suited for you. So that's something you can definitely do if that is your lingering issue. Otherwise, 2 dumbbells, you kind of get the choice here. If you're comfortable with the movement and it's a movement that you feel confident on, then choosing the load side is never a bad thing, right? Doing 5 sets of like 3 to 5 or 3 to 7, somewhere in there, depending on how much weight you really do want to move, is fantastic. Like highly valuable, highly recommended. You do not need to do a ton of volume with these Olympic lifts to get what we're trying to get out of it. But there's just not a ton of people. The majority of people fall under not overly comfortable than super confident. So again, the load option is there. I love doing these Olympic lifts with the heavier weight, the lower volume, and just really working on individual reps on the technical side, becoming more of like a tactician and just trying to move each rep. You're solely focused on the little things of the movement and generating force at each point of the order of operations as you work your way through something like a clean to overhead. Whereas the volume, you're a lot more focused on, typically speaking, if you're somebody that knows what they're doing, on the flow of the movement and kind of stringing together 8 reps at a time, and not so much like the individual force output of each part of the movement. Hopefully that makes sense. But most people will fall under volume in terms of they're just not overly comfortable with the movement in general. So again, I think most people should be doing volume here. If you are comfortable, you can make the hand flip. You're really good with triple extension. You can elevate the dumbbells. Then the load option is definitely a good option for you guys. And then you guys have lateral raises and a superset. Like I said, I try really, really hard to not to create muscle imbalances. We're targeting every part of the shoulder on shoulder day. So lateral raises, again, hit your medial delts here, or isolate your medial delts here. Keep in mind, you can always shorten levers on lateral raises. That's something that, if it causes any type of discomfort, or you want to go up in weight, but like you just aren't strong enough to do it, you can always shorten your lever, bend your elbows is what I mean. Keep the weights closer to the midpoint of your body and move more weight with a shorter lever and work on getting stronger to increase, the lever side of things over time. The superset, high rows, reverse flies, not a strong part of your body. The high rows should be significantly heavier than the reverse flies, but again, back-to-back movements. That's why you have a bigger time of recovery of 90 seconds. You should need all of it, realistically speaking. 2 minutes is probably more appropriate. So this is a world where if I'm going to do 5 sets, you realize 3 sets in that like the lactic is just built up and it's not going away. You do know now that, realistically 2 minutes is probably smarter. So maybe you only do 4 sets instead of 5, especially if you're trying really hard to move a lot more weight, especially on something like those high rows where, again, if you have the ability to stabilize your trunk, you should be able to move an astronomical amount of weight right here relative to the reverse flies. And then this is kind of like a prelude into May, a little bit on the enduro side here. It's still technically capacity, but you do want to work on doing large chunks here, and you got autonomy on how you want to approach these 5 minutes, which is always a coin flip for me as a trainer. Like, keeping the ball on your side of the court is always iffy. You got to have the right mindset, but the goal is to do as many as you physically can in these 5 minutes here, which again, if you have the right mindset and you start with that mindset and you follow it through for 5 minutes, that could be a difference in like 20 reps. So hopefully you guys, remember when you do ball tosses, like it's not heavy. Like nobody should be over 25 pounds. Everybody should be 25 or less. Females, 10, 15 pounds. 20 is even a lot for females. Keep in mind, you want depth in the squat and as much elevation as you can handle through force of each rep. So heavier doesn't usually work well, especially on the elevation side. So just FYI, hopefully you approach this with the right mindset.